That's the first. I've worn the same shirt before. All right. So we are now live. I guess. I hope. Maybe. Yeah, we are. We're live. We are live. Live, everyone. We're live. All right. Hey, we have a viewer already. Hi. Welcome to the show. This week we're talking Nickelodeon and a dumpster fire that it is on the worst podcast ever. Because that's what this is. This is the worst podcast ever. Like, there is no podcast that is worse than this podcast. This is the worst podcast you're ever going to listen to or watch. So, welcome. I apologize for all the new people that are like, hey, the quality looks like crap. Yeah, my internet connection is crap, unfortunately. So, but yes, welcome to the worst podcast ever. This week, first off, I am your host, Jessica. I'm also known as Andrew, but I prefer Jessica. And this week, we are talking Nickelodeon, or as I like to call it, dumpster fire that has SpongeBob SquarePants. And it is a dumpster fire of a network, unfortunately. Hand to God, it is a dumpster fire of a network now. Like, it used to be good. That's the sad part. It used to be so good, but hopefully we'll get some more people in here. I hope. Who knows? We may not. This might be the week when I have like no viewers. But yes, like I said, I do apologize if anybody's like, oh my God, the connection's horrible. What's going on? Yeah, my internet connection's not the world's best. But I'm doing the best I can. I do the best I can with it. But yes, this week we are talking Nickelodeon, the dumpster fire of a TV network. And in all honesty, oh God, is it a dumpster fire of a TV network? But yeah. So looking forward to when people start logging on and checking me out. I already got a like. Yay. I like that. Hey, Alter, what is up? How's it going? How's it going, Alter? We're talking Nickelodeon this week. The god-awful network for kids that basically now panders to teens and tweens that cream their jeans. And yes, that is exactly how I'm going to word this, too. Because that is exactly what they pander to. Yep. And it's the sad part. I loved those bumpers that they always did back in the 90s. Those were the best. I loved those bumpers. And now it's like, that seems like the golden age of Nickelodeon versus what we have now, which is the SpongeBob age, where that's the only show that exists is SpongeBob SquarePants and nothing else. Even the Loud House is now like obsolete. Oh, if we're yeah, we'll talk about both of those probably tonight too, because there's not much that can't be said about Nickelodeon that hasn't already been said by me in a rant video. But or discussion. No, it was a discussion. But oh yes, you know the sad thing is that I actually saw a commercial for MTV. They're having I don't know, it's something of Atlanta, and I'm like, oh great. And I actually looked right at my mom and like, do you remember when MTV used to be good? And they actually just have like music videos. I will not give Paramount money. I will not. I don't buy into the streaming services. I will watch I watch Pluto. I watch the Pluto TV thing, which is cool. I watch yeah, I watch Pluto, YouTube, Tubi. I will watch those. I will not give Paramount Plus my money. I will not give Netflix money. I don't have that much money, and I'm sure I'm not wasting it on them. I heard that reboot wasn't too bad so far. But to be fair, Beavis and Butthead was one of those rare shows that it's really good and it just ages so well. It's like a fine wine. It gets better with age. Believe it or not, I think it's a good home for them because remember they did start off on MTV, but MTV's gone to pot, which is the sad truth. And MTV's gone to pot. There's nothing you can do on MTV anymore. It's all reality shows and crap like that. But yeah. All right. Bye, Alter. Thanks for stopping by. I think Nickelodeon should stop trying to make series and start fixing what they have. If I'm going to be completely honest, they should just start fixing what they already have, like completely. All right, that way I have my mouse plugged in or my charger plugged in. I just got to flip the switch then and put my cooling fan back in. And all right. All right, but like I said, though, thanks for stopping by, Alter. It's fun having you here for a couple minutes. It's nice having you for a couple minutes here. But yes, we're talking Nickelodeon tonight because when I was a kid, and I grew up in the 90s, okay, I was a 90s kid. I was born in 89, like August of 89. I was a 90s kid. And when I grew up in the 90s, I had Nickelodeon, I had Cartoon Network, and then like the mid 90s, I got Disney because that's how our cable company worked. But I had Nickelodeon, I had Cartoon Network. I had the two biggest cartoon centered channels for kids, especially during the day. I remember watching Blue's Clues on Nick Jr. I remember Face. I remember all of that stuff. When it came to like their afternoon programming blocks, I didn't get to see much of it because I was at school. And then during the summertime, they always changed it up. But I will never forget like the nighttime programs you had every night it was 7 p.m. was Doug, 7:30 was Rugrats, and 8 o'clock was whatever the show was for that particular night. Mondays was like Hey Arnold. I don't remember what Tuesdays were. Wednesday was something else, and so on and so forth. Then you had Snick. I loved Snick. That was their best idea. You had like all four of the more teenage centered shows, but they still were something that little kids could watch. You had all that, Keenan and Kel, the Mystery Files of Shelby Woo, Kablam. I love Kablam. Oh my god, I love the new cartoon show. I loved Kablam. That was a good show. But then that kind of got thrown under the bus, which sucked. Of course, that also brought us Angela Anaconda, which I will never forgive them for. Hey, Crown, what's going on? We're talking Nickelodeon tonight. Like the network that is now all SpongeBob. Because even the Loud House finally had to succumb to it. It's now all SpongeBob, which is just sad and horrifying. Because I liked the Loud House; it was a good show, but it's gone. There's no new episodes. It's all SpongeBob, 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 which sucks. But yeah. Not even that. Kindergarten, that's being a little kind. This is like you stick the kid in daycare and you're hoping that they're going to get an education. That's what you're getting today on Nickelodeon. It's basically SpongeBob. It's all SpongeBob. It's like Cartoon Network with Teen Titans Go. It's all it is. Yes, I did. My mom and I watched that today because I was waiting for it to drop. I was checking because I follow two different people on Twitter. I follow Vizzy Pop on Twitter. I get the notifications. I subscribe to the channel. So, and it dropped at noon. I was like, new episodes dropped. I knew it was coming out today because I saw it because I loved yesterday's tweets. We're like, it's like Christmas Eve. We're waiting for our present. And it's like, it's Christmas Eve. We're waiting for our present. I'm like, yes, because I loved, oh my God, Hell of a Boss was so good though today. I love that new episode. It was so good because it actually showed that Stolas can get hurt. Blitz actually has feelings. It was so good. Oh my God. It was beautiful. I want the next episode to come out like in a couple months. I mean, they need like better backing so that they can start whipping these out a little faster, but the time is worth the wait. But oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking though, like with Nickelodeon's the topic that we're doing this week, is I was thinking about it this morning, like what were some of my favorite memories of it? So I remember when I was a kid, I would watch Doug, Rugrats, and then whatever they had on at 8 o'clock that night. Like I said, it was like Mondays was usually Hey Arnold, which I loved that show. I wish it would have gotten better treatment than it did. We also had like Invader Zim, which was a really good show. There were some god awful shows on Nickelodeon though back in the day. Like Legends of the Hidden Temple was a good show, but then when you find out about all the behind the scenes stuff, it's like, I really like the show, but you really don't want to like the show. Like okay, it's all right. It makes sense in a way, but you had shows like that. I like Double Dare though. I thought that was a really good show. Then there were shows that they just like flat out canceled because they're like, oh, the ratings sucked. We couldn't hold on to them anymore. Like 100 Deeds for Eddie McDowell, which was it. That was a really good show. You had the Drifter, the fact that you're like teaching a lesson every week without shoving it down the throat of everybody. It was so good, and it's like, no, screw it. It's canceled. We didn't even get like a movie. A farewell movie would have been great. For 100 Deeds for Eddie McDowell, just like a farewell movie would have been great. But we had so many good shows on Nickelodeon that were all. I mean, and this is like back in the '90s, like back in the early to mid '90s. We had a lot of the good shows. Okay, aside from Ren and Stimpy, I was not a huge Ren and Stimpy fan, but we had Real Monsters, Hey Arnold, Doug, Rugrats. I think the Wild Thornberries came like the mid '90s. I want to say, yeah, I think it was like the mid '90s. But we had decent programming back then. There was good shows, it was good programs. Everybody enjoyed the network, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're not doing that much business. We're not thriving that well. And now I understand the general idea of it. They wanted to integrate some tween-centric comedies and some teen-centric dramas into it to try to capture the growing audience, but still have the stuff for the other audience, which makes sense. That's what you have to do. You need to grow and change with the times. So you have the teens and tweens that are going to cream their jeans. You kind of want to have something that suits them. Of course, though, in the late '90s, early 2000s, they took some severe wrong turns, like with Rocket Power. Now, first off, don't get me wrong. I did like Rocket Power to a point. That point got quickly killed. Like after a couple weeks, that point was just killed. I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm done with Rocket Power. But then you had shows that there were some Chef Kiss shows that were just so damn good. I wish they would have stuck around. Pelswick was one that I really enjoyed. I thought Pelswick was really good. Um, there was Mr. Meaty, which yes, I know a lot of people have issues with that show, but hear me out. Hear me out before you get your pitchforks. Hear me out. I love the theme song. It's 30 seconds. It can work for a freaking restaurant. It is so damn good. But of course, you have some bad shows, and there was a lot of those. But a lot of the other good ones were there. Like As Told by Ginger was good. I, I actually I won't deny that I did like As Told by Ginger. I did like that show. I was not a huge fan of All Grown Up, the Rugrats All Grown Up series, but that's just me. I kind of liked it as a special more so than hey, this we're gonna do like a full series for this. Because I kind of felt like that just took the magic away from it. It's like, here's what we're gonna do, deal with it. And I'm like, oh, it just kind of took all the fun away from it. And I was like, crap. But yeah, so there was that. We had God, what were some of the other shows back in the '90s? And Secret World of Alex Mack was a weird one. I remember watching that with my mom, and she was just like, why are we watching this? Because it's cool. I did like Clarissa Explains It All, but then again, to be fair, when I was a kid, I had a crush on Melissa Joan Hart. Like when Sabrina the Teenage Witch started playing on TGIF on ABC, I was watching that. It's like I was just watching. Honest to God, I was just watching that for her. Like nothing else mattered. I'm like, nope, I'm watching this because I have a crush on Melissa Joan Hart, and I liked Clarissa Explains It All. That was a good show. You had The Adventures of Pete and Pete when I was a kid. That one was okay. It kind of felt like the predecessor to Napoleon Dynamite in a way, but it wasn't bad. What are some of the other weird ones? Uh, oh, no, I got one. I got one. When I was in second grade, I remember this show. Welcome to Wienerville. It was like a game show, and then at the end of it, they wienerized these like two of the adults. They basically had like big heads and really, really tiny bodies, and they were trying to like compete in a challenge. It's basically they just stuck their head behind a marionette. It was really cool, but it was a good show. There was the Nick Arcade. There was Cousin Skeeter. That was a weird show. I want to know what member of that kid's family though was screwing felt to get Cousin Skeeter. And that's just like the shows. Cause there when SpongeBob came, that kind of like killed the majority of Nickelodeon programming. Cause all of a sudden it's like, hey, this thing's a juggernaut. People are loving it. We have to start making money off of SpongeBob now more than anything else. So Hey Arnold got cut, Invader Zim got cut. I loved Rocco's Modern Life when I was a kid. That ended up going. You had Rugrats. Doug went to Disney, but that's a whole can of worms in itself. But yeah, there's just like so much that went wrong um with that particular when that particular little yellow bastard came. Yeah, how you doing, Chuck? And yes, Zim deserved way better. You know, the sad thing was Enter the Florpus and the Static Cling Rocco's movie were supposed to be on Nickelodeon. The only reason they got shuffled to Netflix was because the Jungle movie for Hey Arnold performed poorly on the network. They never advertised it. I didn't even know. Last I had heard, I'm like, hey, I wonder if this is still coming out. And then I find out, oh my God, it's been out for like months. And I'm like, when did it drop? And nobody had an idea. And I'm like, oh my God. That's why nobody knew about the others. And they're like, oh, we're just going to shove them over to Netflix. I mean, if they would have kept them on Nickelodeon, they would have did better. But yeah, Zim deserved a lot better. So did Rocco. There were a lot of other shows, like Pelswick was good. I'd probably be Rocco because he kind of had an idea of what he wanted in life. But at the same time, if I could be a Nickelodeon character, like I could pick any of the characters from Nickelodeon, like 100%. I have any of the characters I can pick from. I would probably go with, in all honesty, Danny Phantom because I just like the ghost powers. Because and that was something else I was thinking about this morning because I'm like, hey, we did have like the resurgence of Nickelodeon in a way, like the small resurgence. When Fairly Odd Parents started, that was a really good show. When we got Danny Phantom, that was before Avatar: The Last Airbender came on. Danny Phantom was without a doubt 100% S tier Nickelodeon. Avatar bumped it down to A tier only because Avatar's art style was so much better. Because it was like you're watching an anime, which was really popular, versus here's Danny Phantom, which was still an okay show. I loved Danny Phantom. I thought it was really good. But of course, I would love for like the reboot to actually happen, like the Danny Phantom reboot, or the hey, we're gonna shuck it like years into the future where they're going to college or high school, but Butch Hartman does not touch it. Like he has no touch, he has no hands in it. Like there's no touchy of this to the series from him. Like he does not touch a thing of that show. And I would be all for a reboot for Danny Phantom. You can actually pull up clips on YouTube. It's really good. I love the show though. Cause I always liked how he goes, his battle cry was he's going ghost. And for like half the series, it was just like his plain jumpsuit that was altered. And then after he lost his memories and they kind of had to repower him, Sam threw the D logo on, like the DP logo onto him that she had designed, and that was so kick ass. And like, yeah, that's how you do it. You had the really good specials like the Ultimate Enemy, the one when Sam went crazy with the plants. The finale itself though was the best because that's where Vlad Plasmius finally screwed himself. Danny had to get all the help from the Ghost Zone to actually save the Earth. It was just so beautiful. But it made me think about Nickelodeon because I pulled up the I shouldn't really say I pulled it up. YouTube recommended the Ember McLean song, Remember? that villain that had the flaming head of hair, and her very first episode was she saying like that, "Ember, you will remember my name." And then you hear the tragic backstory behind her character. Apparently, she was asked out on a date, and the jackass never showed up for the date. She stood outside the movie theater the entire night waiting for him to show up. Was so exhausted when she got home, she just collapsed on her bed and did not wake up in time to save herself when her house accidentally caught on fire. And that's how she died. And it's like, that is the most tragic backstory of a character. I mean, you have characters in Danny Phantom that were just really sad. I mean, you had the Box Ghost. Come on. The Box Ghost. Beware! The Box Ghost. But with Ember, she was just horrifying. It was just that's how her character was. That's why she has her song "You Will Remember My Name." But there was just so many good shows that honestly weren't bad for Nickelodeon at the time. Of course, with every good thing though has to come the bad. Like I said, we had the slight resurgence like in the 2000s. I'm going to say slight resurgence because let's face it, I did not like My Cousin Skeeter. Okay? That show was weird. Yeah, being a ghost wouldn't be too bad, though. You would have to use your powers responsibly. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. But yes, that would be pretty cool, though. But I mean, we had like weird shows in the mid 2000s, like Cousin Skeeter. Mr. Meaty was one of my favorites, so I did like Mr. Meaty. You had As Told by Ginger, which was really good. Pelswick, which I thought was really good, then got unceremoniously, mind you, canceled. And the problem is that they didn't even outright cancel a lot of these; they just shuffled them over to Nicktoons. And that Nicktoons is where good programs go to die. You had when Avatar: The Last Airbender dropped, that was where Nickelodeon's like, okay, so we have the little children market cornered with Nick Jr. We have the adolescent children market nailed with SpongeBob, and we have the mid-adolescent era nailed with Avatar. Great. What do we do about the tweens? Is they wanted to go back and kind of dive back into the tween stuff. And to be fair, they had live action programming back in the 90s. It wasn't bad. Clarissa, The Mystery Files of Shelby Woo, 100 D's Freddie McDowd. God, what was the one? All That, Keenan and Kel. So they were no strangers to that. Yeah, I don't really remember Big and Small. There's a lot. I mean, keep in mind, I'm going off like a lot of my memories of Nickelodeon, and they're kind of really messed up because Nickelodeon has altered itself so much over the years. Because I tuned out tremendously when we started getting like Bunsen is a Beast, Tough Puppy. When those shows started flooding Nickelodeon, I tuned the hell out. When Butch Hartman and the people started really screwing with Fairly Odd Parents, I checked the hell out because, and I actually brought this up to my one coworker once. So with Fairly Odd Parents, it went through at least four arcs, if you really want to think about it. The first one being Timmy just being an only child. The second one with Poof coming in, and a lot of people like that's where the show went to pot. No, Poof was brought in kind of like because you have to realize when Poof was brought in, there was a bit of a surge rising with parents getting another kid, like parents having started a second child and adding to their family. So that was kind of the hey, this is what to expect when you get a little sibling. With Sparky, I will say the show started taking the downward spiral, but that was to show more responsibility. In all fairness, goldfish do not take much to take care of. You feed them, you clean their bowl, and you leave them alone. There's not much to do. They're in their own little world. When you brought Chloe on, however, that was where the show went to pot and handbasket because Chloe killed that show. She killed Fairly Odd Parents. And I will die on that hill. I will die on the hill that says that Chloe killed Fairly Odd Parents because she was brought on for this is what happens when your parents get divorced and you have to split custody of your parents. Nobody cared. All she was an annoying pain in the neck. You had the live action movies, which I will admit weren't bad, but at the same time weren't that great. Of course, having Drake Bell nowadays with that and looking back on that, that was not a good idea. I don't mind Sparky that much. I despise Chloe. Chloe was where that show went to pot in a handbasket. When she came on, that brought that show to a screeching halt. They changed the animation style to flash animation, which completely gutted how it looked originally. It was hand drawn, decent. You could have even just like auto drawn it with Blender or something, and it still would have been good. When they did flash animation, you could see the shift. It's similar to like how Chaotic worked, where the first season of Chaotic or the first like good parts of Chaotic were flash animation, and then bam, it's more like a SWAT Cat style where it's anime inspired, but it's not anime. You could tell the difference instantly. In this, it's the reverse of that. It was really good animation, and then all of a sudden, it's flash animation. It's the cheapest of the cheap because it doesn't take much to animate that. I had to do flash. When I went to tech school for web design, we had to learn flash animation. And I remember doing that class. I hated it with a passion, but I remember doing it. But Chloe just brought that show right to its knees, and she killed the show. Yeah, it is because using flash animation is cheap as shit because it doesn't take much to animate it and you can just save the file and reuse it over and over and over again. You don't have to redraw it, time and time again. You don't have to reprocess it because it's already stored on the computer. It's on a hard drive, it's on a flash drive. It's like, oh yeah, here, I have Timmy's walk animation. Cool, let's print it 50 times. It doesn't take much to do it. And that's what pisses me off. That's what killed the show because they just ruined Fairly Odd Parents with it. But like I said, the shows that Nickelodeon screwed royally. Uh, Fairly Odd Parents, Hey Arnold, Pelswick. If you remember Pelswick, that is saying something because Pelswick was the show that I watched and I'm like, hey, they're finally doing something good here. And then, nah. Because I remember bringing this up with that when that Lost Pilot for Sailor Moon dropped for the live action animation-ish one that made like huge news. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When that dropped, I'm like, hey, they're giving some love to paraplegics. Yeah. Yeah, Pelswick was paraplegic. He was in a wheelchair. You've never seen Pelswick. Chuck, you need to look up clips of Pelswick. For the love of God, you need to look up clips of Pelswick. Okay, Pelswick was a good show. It was, oh my God. I can't, you've never seen Pelswick? Yeah, you gotta check that out. You have got to check out Pelswick. It was a good show. Nickelodeon had it. Hold on, let me see if there's. Let me open up another tab here quick. Let me see if there's any on YouTube. I'm pretty sure there is, but oh my God, you've never seen Pelswick. I can't believe you've never seen Pelswick. That is a good show. It's so good. But yeah, because there's an episode that comes to my mind where Pelswick he's trying to get, there's a trading card game going on. And one of the cards you needed to play to beat everybody was called Faceless Jeff. And the thing is, he's found out that his sister got one. Like his little sister got one. He's trading her everything. Like all of his stuff, his mattress, his wheelchair, everything just for that card. Only to get it and find out, oh yeah, we don't really yeah, it doesn't work that way. I gotta see Pelswick. No. There better be some clips. Oh, they have like episodes up. There's an entire there's a channel, there's a playlist that has episodes up. Oh no, yeah, Chuck, you gotta go check that out. Like, there is literally an entire playlist of all Pelswick episodes, like all 26 episodes. like the full episodes. I'm gonna save that to my. I am saving that to my watch list. Let me click view. I'm gonna save that to my watch list. I'm gonna watch that later. I'm gonna save this. I am saving that playlist because I loved Pelswick. That was such a good show. It was such a good show. It's a good show. I don't care where it came from. It's a good show. I liked it. I mean, because all right, so remember, there's like a lot of controversy, like with what Nickelodeon could have had and they didn't take. Because remember, if you've ever seen Adventure Time, they had a chance to get that, and Nickelodeon's like, we don't want this crap. We don't want this crap. Cartoon Network took it. But yeah, no, Pelswick was like that was a good show. I liked that show. I did not like My Cousin Skeeter. I will die on that hill too. That show was stupid. As Told by Ginger was good. I thought that was really good because that was sort of like the predecessor, I want to say, to Zoe 101, because you had As Told by Ginger, which kind of gave you the more teen, like the tween age, we're in school dealing with crap. And then we got Zoe 101 down the road where we had the live action. Hey, this is like a soap opera for kids and teens, and I loved it. It was great. Of course, though, this will bring us into the Dan Schneider era of Nickelodeon, which was just, yeah. So for those of you that don't know about the Dan Schneider era of Nickelodeon, grab your Crocs and hike up your socks. It's about to get shitty on this ride. That was whoo boy. The Dan Schneider era of Nickelodeon was where we had a lot of stuff that should never have existed and still existed. Granted, we got Zoe 101 out of it. I'll throw iCarly in on that too, I guess. Victorious, Drake and Josh, and stuff like that. Of course, nowadays, you would not be thinking about it fondly or looking back on it with good memories, mostly because, oh yeah, hey, remember that guy that was on Nickelodeon, that was in charge of Nickelodeon? You remember what he did? And then you find out like all the backstage stuff. It's like, let's not remember that. So let's not remember that particular thing that he did. It's like, yeah, he was a sick freak. But I mean, we had like really good programs for Nickelodeon. Like I said, Fairly Odd Parents was good. Anything that would go up against SpongeBob got my support. I did not like Sanji and Craig though. I hated Sanji and Craig. I loved the Loud House though. When the Loud House, I'd watched like one episode when I was at a McDonald's with my mom. And it was like the first time her and I were actually able to go out and eat, because my grandfather and my aunt came up and took him out to eat. And my mom were like, hey, we're gonna go out and get a bite because we have not been able to do that in a while. And it's like, cool. And I'm watching, they had an episode of the Loud House airing, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't look too bad. And then I was checking it up then later. I'm like, hey, this was really good. Then of course Nickelodeon got Power Rangers and they butchered it. This is the sad part. Okay, and this is the part that really hurts me. They had Digimon and they ruined Digimon. They had Digimon Fusion for like 3 to 4 episodes, and then they killed it off because it wasn't bringing in the ratings. Well, first off, you put it on at 12:30 on a Saturday. The next week, your worldwide day of play hits where you stop broadcasting at noon till 3 o'clock. So of course, that's going to screw everything out of whack. It made no sense. It was idiotic. And it's like, yeah, no, the ratings suck. We're going to shove it over to Nicktoons. And then it died. And then Disney took it. And then Disney killed it. So, yeah. Yeah, he's gone from Nick. That's the thing. He's gone. It wasn't even just a foot fetish. Jeanette McCurdy even had said some of the stuff that he was doing behind the scenes with the castmates. Like some of the stuff she detailed in her autobiography. Victoria Justice had came out about it a couple times. There were a lot of Nickelodeon stars that came out like, yeah, he was a sick freak. He was a monster. He was nasty. He was awful. And they weren't saying it'd be like, oh, he wasn't carrying compassion. No, he was just plain awful. And Nickelodeon backed his crap. And I just remember that gave us like so many bad shows, but then we also had some good shows. Like I loved, with a passion, mind you, I loved Zoe 101. I thought that was a really good show. I'm like, yeah, this isn't a bad show. I really liked it. Now, granted, last I heard we are getting a reboot, Zoe 102, which fine, I'm all for that. But even go with like this era of Nickelodeon, we had Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, which was really good. I will throw my support for that show. I would love for that to come back, even as like a reboot where like Ned and Mose are like parents and their kid finds his old survival guide and is like, "Hey, Dad wrote this when he was my age." As like they're looking at like none of this stuff matters now. That would be like really good, but of course they'll never probably do that because it'll be way too weird, way too awkward. But the cast was like, "Yeah, we're all for it. Like, bring us back." But then what just sucks though with Nickelodeon, and I'm gonna say this, like anything that, and I mean anything that could challenge their yellow money making piss colored tampon alternative, they refused to acknowledge. Or if they did their damnedest to kill it. And that's not the only thing. Like Jake and John. Yeah, I remember 'cause I grew up watching those too because they came out. Because then, like, if my cousins came up, like on a weekend, or we had to watch them like every third Thursday of the month, we were watching them. They would want to put on Nickelodeon, and my grandfather was yelling at me for it's like, well, this is all your fault that they're watching that. Excuse me. I watch TV in a totally different room for starters. Like I would like my mom would like, here, sit in my room, watch TV. That way you're out of their hair. You're not I never liked Drake and Josh. I did not like Drake and Josh. I watched some iCarly, wasn't a fan of it, wasn't happy with it, thought it was kind of stupid. There was like an entire special where Spencer burned down her room in an apartment that they rent, use the insurance money that he got from the brooch that was destroyed to repair it again in a place they rent. And it's like, yeah, no. I would just be like, no, I'm not down for that. I'm not down for that. But yeah, it was weird to say the least. Like 100% weird. But oh my God. Let's put it this way. At least it wasn't as weird as what was it? Henry Danger. Then you had the Danger Force. What the hell was that? What was that crap? I almost forgot about Big Timers. I actually watched that. Granted, I didn't watch all of it, but I did watch enough of it to kind of get a gist of it. It was one of those shows I'll put on in the background while I'm doing something else. Because at the time I was like working on Lego kits, I was like screwing around my trading cards. That's a show that I will put on in the background while I'm doing something else. Like I'm not 100% committing myself to watching Big Time Rush, but I will watch it. I did like the music though to a point, but I got behind that for about a hot minute. I'm gonna be like about a hot minute. And then I'm like, okay, so this is basically Zoe 101, but with actors and actresses. And then you had what's her name that went on to play Tootie in the live action Fairly Odd Parents movie, playing Victoria's older sister, who was basically trying to basically be a one woman show. She she was the type of person that you could definitely tell somebody you have no talent. You will go. She's literally the person that you would say your destiny is to say the following phrase. Repeat after me. Would you like fries with that? Or worse yet, that type of person. I'm not saying like the actress. I'm saying that type of person, like the character she was portraying. That is the type of person you're either going to see, I can't think of the name either of what the name of the character was, but that's the type of person that you're either going to see in a B grade porno, thinking that she's massively popular on the pilot of a TV series that doesn't get picked up, or working at either a Starbucks, a restaurant, or at the drive-thru at a McDonald's. Worst, best case scenario, she might get a job at Arby's, and she's still going to be saying the phrase, "Would you like fries with that?" Of course, she goes to Arby's, she'll have earned the right to say, "Welcome to Arby's." She will have earned that right to say, "Welcome to Arby's." Welcome to Arby's. I mean, I thought it was weird though, like the whole premise of the show. It's like, okay, so she's going to this popular school where you basically are taught acting skills. Okay, so it's like Juilliard for the poor. You had the goth chick that was just a pain in the ass. You had the one that would go on to get her own spin-off series, ironically with Jeanette McCurdy, with that Sam and Cat, which I hated that, by the way. That was idiotic upon idiotic. Hey, let's take this really great premise, throw these two characters that I'm pretty sure were still under contract at the time. And that's why they did it, because like, hey, Jeanette McCurdy's still under contract with us. Ariana Grande is still under contract with us, and they're like, what do we do with them? Ooh, let's make them their own show. Do we have to? Yes. Oh, I don't wanna. I don't wanna either, but we have to. We have to. It's still owed to them. They're under contract. And that's how we got Sam and Cat, which their entire premise was we're opening a babysitting service to pay rent. Now, unless you're watching the children of extremely rich, upper clientele, upper echelon, like we are talking the ones that take $100 bill to wipe their ass and then flush it down the toilet. That type of rich, like they literally have a roll of toilet paper that is just $100 bills. Like they're not even cut $100 bills. Like there's a perforated edge, but that's what you get. They're not making bank watching 3 kids. Come on. Especially they were like, what, out in Los Angeles yet? Do you know how expensive it is out in California? Do you know how expensive it is in Los Angeles? Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give you the stupidest plot for a show ever. I guarantee there's like 3 writers in the room. They're like, what do? We have a problem. No, duh. What's the problem? Well, we have 2 actors that are still in contract. We need to give them a show, and our writers are threatening to go on strike if they have to come up with one more stupid idea. Who are they? The one that played Sam and the one that played Cat. Screw it, give them their own show. Well, what do we make it? I don't know. Come up with something. Sit on the toilet and come up with something. I don't care. I want to say that was the conversation that happened. I'm almost guaranteeing you that was the conversation that happened, was probably that exact conversation of, well, that's it. That's how it goes. But then you had so many other bad shows, and there were a lot of them. A lot of bad shows that came about. There was that, what was it? Monster and Robot. I did not watch much of that. You had Monsters vs. Aliens, the series. I liked the movie, not the series. I thought the movie was really good, but not the series. There's just so many other shows that got greenlit, and Nickelodeon's like, hey, these are all going to make buku bucks. No, they're not. You had the Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness, which wasn't bad. And all of those basically competed against their yellow piss-colored tampon alternative, SpongeBob. Because they're like, look, people are going to tune in for SpongeBob, but we got to give them something else to keep them hooked onto this network. We can't just keep riding the SpongeBob cocaine train. Which is basically what it is. That That little yellow bastard is ruining the network without a doubt. Okay, the executives were not much help. Let's cater to teens and tweens that cream their jeans. That didn't help them. Let's get rid of all the good stuff. How about the Kids' Choice Awards? Those used to be fun, so entertaining. It was like, hey, this is an award show for kids. You can enjoy it. It's for kids. What happened to that? Oh, yes. SpongeBob gets it every freaking year. What was it? How many years did he win Best Animation? And this isn't rigged? It's not rigged? Really? I'm thinking rigged. I'm betting rigged. I'm going to go with rigged for 100. Hey, Isaac. How you doing? We're talking Nickelodeon tonight, and I'm running out of Nickelodeon topics, so I might soon shift to MTV. Well, that's good. I'm actually having a good week, too. I got to finally start my HRT this week. I got a phone call yesterday from the pharmacy, and they had my prescriptions. So I am finally on my estrogen. Yay! Well, I'm on day 2 of it. I took my second pill this morning. So yay! But yeah, I'm doing pretty good this week. Well, I'll rephrase it. I'm doing better now. Earlier this week, I was really having a mental crisis with myself because I might have had to say goodbye to a friend, and now I'm trying my damnedest to figure out a way to still be her friend. Because I do not want to say goodbye to my friend. There is no way in hell I'm going to say goodbye to my friend. So I refuse. I will find a way to still be her friend if it kills me. Like, even if I have to like build the neuralizer from MIB, I will find a way to do it. But yeah. Yeah, so talking Nickelodeon, what was I up to? God, I'm running out of I am running out of topics for Nickelodeon. Holy crap. Yeah, we're never gonna see them. Cartoon Network will never okay that, and even if they did, they'll shove it over to Max, and Max will never okay it. I think DC's done dealing with Cartoon Network at this point. I think in all honesty, it kind of feels like they want to let their contract run out, and then just the minute, like the very second that the contract is done, like the timer expires, they're gonna go, well, that's it, you're done. No more of our shows for you. But yeah, that's what I kind of feel like is gonna happen. But what was it? Oh yeah, so with Nickelodeon, they had like a lot of controversies. There was like all the good shows, all the bad shows. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, there was Keenan and Kel, Mystery Files, Shelby Woo, Kablam. We had Snick, for God's sake. Like every Saturday night was Snick. I loved that programming block. Action League Now, of course, Kablam brought us the god awful Angela Anaconda. If anybody out there remembers Angela Anaconda, first off, God help you, because that show was god awful. But if you remember that show, God help you. Total Drama Island was good. I liked the first season of Total Drama Island. I thought that was good. It was like Survivor for kids. And then it started getting a little more interesting. Then it kind of became like The Amazing Race for kids. And then I stopped having cable, so I stopped caring. But yeah. But with Nickelodeon, I love this though. So this is like the biggest thing that Nickelodeon did that really pissed me off. And honestly, was the final nail in their coffin as far as I was concerned. Now, you have the entire Dan Schneider era of bullshit. You have SpongeBob raping all the other shows, taking them down one by one systematically. He's finally even taken down the Loud House because from the last report I saw, there are no new episodes of the Loud House airing on Nickelodeon. Like, there's not even reruns. So he's taken down his only competition that actually stood a chance against him. But the biggest thing Nickelodeon did, yeah, it wasn't a bad reboot. I won't. They got like a lot of reboots. Total Drama got a lot of reboots. But what got me though with Nickelodeon, their biggest controversy. So you had Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was just chef's kiss. That was S tier. That became S tier Nickelodeon. The minute that show hit the screen, it's like, oh my God, this is so good. Then, after that ended, after 3 seasons, we got The Legend of Korra. The Legend of Korra, which was very well done, by the way. Same art style, even more beautiful aesthetics. The last episodes didn't even air on the network. Now, you're probably wondering, why didn't they air? What was Nickelodeon's issue with airing them? Well, apparently, from what I pieced together, like so many years ago when this hit, they put them up on their website only. And the reason behind that was because Korra was getting it on with the other female character, the one that Mako was interested in. Yeah, I can't think of what her name was. Was it Asami? I think it was Asami. But yeah, because those two were becoming a couple, Nickelodeon's like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. Back this up for a moment. So we have a main character that's lesbian. How many episodes are left? 4. Put them on the website. We're not airing those. We are not running the risk of this, folks. Hell no. Yet years later, hey, here's Power Rangers Dino Charge or Dino Fury. Yeah, they went down. Yeah, years later they went downhill. To be fair, their downward spiral started when SpongeBob just kept going and going and going and going. Like the Energizer Bunny with the secret Duracell battery, the D-sized Duracell up its ass. It just kept going and 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 going. But what's funny is that their entire issue with The Legend of Korra was because Korra was going. I think her name was Asami. I'm willing to bet it was Asami was the name. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. Basically, because she was going to be a couple with her, like they were getting involved. Nickelodeon's like, we do not need angry parents screaming and hollering at us because their kids are watching 2 women getting it on. So because of that, they're like, no, 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 no. Yet years later, Dino Fury, before it shifted to Netflix, Dino Fury, before it shifted to Netflix, okay, we got our first ever, mind you. Now keep in mind, David Yost was gay, but it was not out. It was not canon in the series. In Dino Fury, we got our first ever lesbian Power Ranger. The Green Ranger. Okay? She was the first one in almost 30 years. The very first one was Tommy and Kimberly, sort of in a way, but they had an on-screen kiss. She kissed another girl and also was like, hey. And the world kept moving and didn't stop. What Nickelodeon was terrified of with Korra, it's like, nothing happened. Even back then, nothing would have happened. I remember watching it on Nickelodeon's website, and I'm just like, and their issue with this was what? Oh, well, because Korra is with a girl. And your point is what? Love takes all forms. Your point is what? It's teaching children to be wrong. Honey, if that's being wrong, I don't want to be right. I'm gonna come out and say it. That's being wrong. I don't want to be right. So yeah, no. But that was like the main thing that I remember reading that was why. And Nickelodeon didn't even give an accurate explanation. Their explanation was more company line where all the ratings were tanking. Well, yeah, the ratings were tanking. You kept changing the time the show would air. One time it's on a Saturday, then it's on a Friday, then it's on a Saturday, then it's on a Monday, then you put it on a Sunday for some unknown reason. Don't even get me started with the Nickelodeon Sunday Barbie movies. Like almost, what was it? Like every single Sunday, Barbie, 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 or Monster High, or Monsters, or some other. It was basically Mattel Sunday afternoon lineup for like 12 to 2. Ugh. They killed so many good shows on Nickelodeon to make way for SpongeBob, and SpongeBob was supposed to end at the end of the first movie. I know they're coming out with the live action Barbie movie. I've seen it. Ken got his ass kicked in the trailer. let's just get it. I'm gonna say this right now. If they do not make one dick joke in that movie, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm serious about that. Show me the clip in that upcoming Barbie movie, because I know it's done filming, because Margot Robbie even said it's done filming. You show me one dick joke in that movie, because I am waiting to hear them say Ken does not have a penis, because Ken is not anatomically correct, and that is something that everybody knows but him, apparently. Hell, Robot Chicken made fun of it. When Robot Chicken makes fun of it, you know you're onto something, okay? When Robot Chicken makes fun of it, you know you have something. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. But Nickelodeon was just so good back in the 90s. And I'll even give like the early 2000s, with the exception of Cousin Skeeter. Nickelodeon wasn't bad. It went downhill quick. Like all of a sudden, Nickelodeon was just like 100%, screw it. They stopped caring, and they know they did. They know beyond a doubt that they stopped caring, and they're like, yeah, we don't care. That's not our problem anymore. That's your problem. That's a you. They're like, that's a you problem, not an us problem. That's a you problem. Sweetie, it's not a me problem. It's a you problem. Because you people keep screwing up. But like I was saying earlier, because talk about that, shall we? Because you have the whole, we're gonna put football on. Football. The game was swearing. Here you have jocks that will swear. Let's put that on a kids network. That'll work real well. Real well. I think Mattel did, because they knew that they needed the extra money, and also the animated Barbie movies. But she's done everything at this point. She's been an astronaut. She's been a cowboy. She's been a banker. She's been a doctor. She's been a vet. She's been a geologist. She's been a scientist. She's been a biologist. But at the same time, they have to keep the IP going, so they have to come up with fresh use it, and they don't want that, so they keep the IP going. They have to something, even if it sucks. And they just like chuck money at it and call it a tax loss. That's the problem, unfortunately. But yeah. Oh wait, no, hold on. I got the perfect topic with Nickelodeon. So who remembers the Super Bowl issue from like a few years ago, where it's like, or after Stephen Hillenburg died, they're like, oh, they had better play Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl halftime show. And everybody's like so geeking out when it's starting. They're like, yes, oh my God, they're going to do it. They're going to play it. They're going to play it. Ah! Everybody's going ape shit like Kermit the Frog. Like, ah! Everybody's going crazy. And they lie to all of you. But I remember that. I remember that happening. I'm like, they're not gonna play this. Like the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, they're not gonna play this. Like I'm like, they're not gonna play Sweet Victory. You people are smoking crack. They're not gonna play Sweet Victory. They didn't play Sweet Victory. They had no intention of playing that. They had no intention of playing Sweet Victory. They played something else entirely. It's like, yep. Because I didn't watch the Super Bowl that year because I didn't have cable and my team wasn't in it, so I really didn't give two shits. But the next morning, I'm checking the internet and it's like everybody's geeking out. I'm like, you honestly expected them to play this? Are you insane? Yep, Toy Story 3 hinted at a lot of stuff, Optimus. How you doing, by the way? Toy Story hinted at a lot of stuff, especially Toy Story 3. That really hinted at a lot. Toy Story 4 was just a crapshoot. Well, that's good. Yeah, Toy Story 3 hinted at a lot of stuff, but I mean, oh yeah, they hinted at a lot. Like I mean, you actually watch that movie and you pause some of the frames. There's like an entire there was a wiki. I don't know if it's still up or not. It's not rumored at this point. It's semi-confirmed. It's quote in development. Whether or not it stays in development hell would be wonderful, but it's not really much of a rumor anymore. They should have ended the Toy Story movies at Toy Story 3. Toy Story 4 was a crap show where everything we learned in the first 3 movies was thrown right out the window with Toy Story 4. And I'm like, why? Why? They made Buzz Lightyear a bumbling idiot. Woody basically leaves. And when I saw that they were coming out with Toy Story 5, I'm like, why are you coming out with Toy Story 5? It's not even a standalone. They could have did specials that were better than that. It's not even so much a standalone because you started with the flashback to Andy. Anybody that watched the first 3 Toy Story movies and saw the ending of Toy Story 3 knows who Bonnie is. They know why Bonnie has Andy's toys. So it's not even you can't even say it's a standalone movie because Toy Story 4 takes place literally after Toy Story 3, basically after the specials. So you can't even say it's a standalone film. It wasn't so much that Andy got old, it was that he grew up, just like the audience did. Because, all right, so when the original Toy Story movie came out, I was like around 5 or 6 years old because I was like freaking out because I was always called Andy. That was my nickname. And I was freaking out in the theaters. My uncle took me to go see it, and I'm like, kid's name is Andy. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. But when Toy Story 2 came out, I was like in middle school. When Toy Story 3 came out, I was out of high school. I was like out of tech school when Toy Story 3 came out. That was the swan song, basically. It's like it was the coming of age. It was going out. And I'm just like, that was phasing out. It's like you have to give up your childhood and become an adult now. And that was what Andy did at the end of it. It wasn't so much to milk it dry, it was because, hey, the fans that grew up with Toy Story are now becoming adults. They probably, might even have kids of their own. We don't know. That was their entire plan for it, and I agree with that. But the fact that, I mean, I would have been happy with standalone specials. Like they could have did like they did the Halloween one, they did Christmas one. I think they did one other one. I would have been happy with those. Maybe a made for TV 90-minute movie would have been great. Just like kind of showing like, hey, Andy comes back or something, or Bonnie, goes off to school. Something small like that. No massive cinematic masterpiece, nothing like that. The fact that they did Toy Story, okay, yeah, we're tying up the loose end with Bo Peep. No, you said Bo Peep was sold. They said that in the third movie. Because it's like, well, you remember what happened to Bo Peep? Yeah, she was gotten rid of. They didn't say that whether or not she was broken. They kind of hinted that she was sold, that she was given away. Because remember, Ham goes, hey, let's go see what we're going for on eBay. It's like they know what their fate was. They were almost certain of it. Yeah, I agree. No more Toy Story movies, please. No more. I mean, it's bad enough that they made Buzz Lightyear a bumbling idiot. Then they make a standalone. Now, if you want to go, Optimus, if you want to go like a standalone Toy Story movie, Lightyear would be a standalone movie because that had nothing to do with Toy Story. That was the movie that Buzz Lightyear was based off of. That was apparently the movie that Andy saw that gave his mom the idea to go out and buy a Buzz Lightyear for him for his birthday. That was a standalone. Toy Story 4 isn't even the only person that was new in that was Bonnie's dad. To class, it's only one day. You're not done with kindergarten. You're going to be coming back here all the time, every day. But we're going to go on a big from home because I remember the mom volunteered at Sunnydale or she worked there. And it's like, yeah, because she had Bonnie there with her. So either she volunteered or she worked there. That would be good. That would be good, actually. See, the only downside, though, is that with the Toy Story franchise, they have to change some of the voice actors because some of them have passed away. Like, there are some that are dead. I mean, the voice of Spring the dog is gone. Because that was the one that played in the Ernest movies. I know that, I think it was Mr. Potato Head's voice actor passed. Don't quote me on that one, but yeah, you're going to have to eventually change out these actors. It's like, why bother? Then you're just going to have to write the character off. So what would Toy Story 5 even be? It's going to be the continuing adventures of Woody? And just call it Woody. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. You can't do that in this day and age anymore because that might give parents the wrong idea and their kids might age anymore because that might give parents the wrong idea and their kids might go, Common, how you doing? I thought so because I know that he did the voices for Toy Story 4 and they were kind of debating whether or not to throw it in. But they're like, oh no, we can still add it in. But then if you kind of notice, Mr. Potato Head doesn't say anything. Like he's sort of quiet. Mrs. Potato Head does all the talking. Up on YouTube and I watched it and I hated it. Like flat out hated it. You ruin a franchise by giving it a fourth movie it did not need and then telling everybody, no, you needed this fourth movie. It ties everything together. It tied nothing together. All you did was tell us what happened to Bo Peep. Made yourselves some money. Seriously, they could have did a made-for-TV movie, did an hour and a half long made-for-TV movie, and just had the voice actors do their voices, do the roles. Boom. Problem solved. And it's a made-for-TV movie. Did you ever see the Ernest movies like Ernest Goes to School, Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Goes to Prison? Yeah, he voiced Slinky. He died because the toy's getting. I mean, if you tease anymore, they're gonna sound like they're getting older. You're gonna hear the age in their voice, and then try to tell everybody, "Oh, those two," and then try to tell everybody they're gonna be anything, and it scares the crap out of me that I fear it. Because I hate the idea of Toy Story 5. I hated Toy Story 4, so Toy Story says something. But I mean, it could have been worse though. They could have replaced like 90% of the cast. But Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending. I mean, the toys almost met their maker. They were basically done. If it wouldn't have been for the aliens, they would have been dead. They would have been destroyed. Andy gave away the toys, basically symbolizing I'm no longer a kid. I can't hold on to childish things. He wanted to take Woody with him. And the whole reason why, if you actually watch the movie, was because he was going off to college. He was going off to a whole new experience that he did not know about. He was scared. And he just looked back at Woody like, I had you since I was a kid. My guess is Woody was the first thing that was given to him. I'm gonna go with the theory that his dad either died or something happened and his mom got him the Woody doll as like, here's your doll. Here's Woody. He'll keep you safe. He'll protect you at night. You'll be fine. And he just all of a sudden it's like, hey, so I'm going off to college. I'm scared. And he wanted to take Woody with him because Woody would keep him safe. It would keep him grounded. But what happened was because he basically had to say goodbye to his stuff, he didn't take Woody with him then because, like, I don't need Woody. I can do this on my own. That voice. Granted, Woody did that so they wouldn't wind up in the attic, but I would have still rather had for that would have been this. So like a decade later, like yeah, I just gotta grab some stuff from the attic. It's like he's married, they have a couple kids, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, like toys. And then all of a sudden it's like, I wonder if the kids would like these. And it just like passes them down. I wonder if the kids would like these. And it just like passes them down to his kids. That would have been so much better of an ending for Toy Story 3, but the ending of Toy Story 3, and I always will. But Toy Story 4 just flat out pisses me off. Like my blood pressure will rise. Somebody tells me Toy Story 4 is the best. That's how you kill Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 was the death of the franchise. Off the Nickelodeon thing, but I kind of said my piece on that too. Like we discussed that for almost an. Say this because like I was saying a little bit, and says, so we're gonna be talking about like MTV and that. Well, I do want to kind of touch on MTV because I keep seeing. Because my mom found out that there's a Star Trek. Looks me. But here's my thought with this. Because they have like something coming. Aaron says the Lightyear movie was bad. Tim Allen says it was bad because he didn't get your movie was bad. Tim Allen says it was bad because he didn't get the voice Lightyear, which I agree on, because if you're voicing a character that your character that you're most famous for is based off of, you should do the voice. Well, it's the origin story. If you make the toy sound like to be the character from the movie, it should sound like the character from the movie. As to why you couldn't get that. But yeah, I never liked that. I agree with him 100%. It was a bad movie. That thing had more holes than Swiss roll. That thing had more holes than Swiss cheese. Bad. Oh yeah, it was a crapshoot. It was a massive crap show. And so we've been watching the Star Trek Void channel on Pluto. And it's coming to MTV. And I just looked at my mom. This would have been like on Wednesday night. I looked at my mom and I'm like, do you remember when MTV used to actually be good? Like they used to have music videos on and they used to be entertaining. Now it's all reality shows and other crap. You had Rock of Love, Shot of Love, Flavor of Love. Now it's Housewives or something like that of wherever and other stuff. There was Silence in the Library. I did like an entire joke back when I was trying to do comedy on YouTube of how bad it was. But yeah, it was just horrible. But MTV just sucks now. I miss the good old MTV, but at the same time, I would rather it just be the old MTV. Yes, MTV went downhill tremendously, like massively downhill. If they're making a Toy Story 5, it might as well just be the Woody movie because you can't have Toy Story without Woody. Woody left at the end of Toy Story 4. So unless this is a whole new reboot of Toy Story, where it's new toys, new environment, new human, it's going to be Woody. That's the only thing I can think of. Because there's no way you're going to tell me that they're getting everybody involved from Toy Story doing Toy Story 4, doing Toy Story 5. There's no way. Because Toy Story 4 was a train wreck. It was a shit show. What's the other thing that... Oh, Comedy Central. That was the other. I was like, what was the other thing that Alter was saying to talk about? Because I'm like, yeah, we'll probably talk about him because I'm going to run out of topics for Nickelodeon. But it was MTV, which I've said my piece. MTV did go downhill. I will never deny that. I missed the music videos on there. The fact you could, and that would be something, especially nowadays. Like there's an MTV, like just do like an MTV streaming channel, and it will be really good. Just MTV streaming. All music videos all the time. Like all the latest music videos are like the top of the hour. new hits every top of the hour. They just pick like one random new song and play the music video for. But no, it's like, well, people are streaming stuff online. We want to do like reality shows and we want to be that. Your music, television. So unless they're breaking out in a song and dance and they're going glee up in this bitch, I don't care. Let's correct that. Let's thank God we have Vivo on YouTube to look up music videos. That's where you get a majority of them. But yes, music videos from YouTube are so good, especially because you can get closed captioning, or some of them you can just get lyrics. This is really good. But the other one, though, since Nickelodeon's Paramount and Paramount owns and has their hand in so many pies, I want to touch on Comedy Central because who remembers when Comedy Central was good? Like way, way, way back in the day when Comedy Central was good. You had like Comedy Central specials. You actually had comedy, like old school TV shows that were really funny that did not really get justification on their networks. Comedy Central picked them up if they had the rights to them, and it was really good. Then it kind of went south, especially now where you have Aquafina is Nora from Queens. I don't get the joke, and I don't care to get the joke. I feel like that joke is below my demographic. Like I am not the demographic for that joke, basically. Yeah, I keep telling my mom music was good in like the 70s and up to like the mid to semi late 80s. From like 88 to 89 onward, you had the slow decline of music because we started getting rap music, we started getting more hip hop. Don't even get me started on country, but you had some diamonds in the rough. You had the boy bands in the 90s, which weren't bad. You didn't sing in Backstreet Boys. I did like both, but you have some diamonds in the rough. The problem is you have to wade through so much crap to get to them. That's the problem. And every single one of them that puts out a song, they're like, hey, I just put out a song and went triple platinum on YouTube. I'm famous, baby. No, no, you're not. Unless your music video went Gangnam Style and got you over 1 billion views on YouTube in a few months, you're not nothing. Okay? Let's remember that. When Gangnam Style dropped, that thing went crazy on YouTube and blew the hell up. Music back in the day would never all right, if YouTube would have existed back in like the 70s and the 80s, oh my god, they would have had music videos that would have just blown the hell up. Those songs would have went crazier than they did. Nowadays, no. So do I miss the days when they were fantastic. The 90s were their best. Early 2000s they were okay. Mid 2000s they went to pop. When they started shifting to teens and tweens that creamed their jeans, they knew they were in trouble. Fairly Odd Parents was barely helping them. God awful. SpongeBob was there, limping, sucking up more views than I used to drink Dr. Pepper. And oh yeah, it was painful to say the least. Oh, by the way, in case anybody's actually wondering on something, um, here's a fun little question. How long do you think I have gone without drinking Dr. Pepper? Take your guesses. I'm not gonna argue with you on that one, Isaac. Like 100%. Music nowadays is just about twerking. Yep, it's twerking, gold teeth, weird hairdos. Oh yeah, music has declined tremendously. Here's music. Like this would be about the 70s. Here's about the mid 80s. Just collapsed. Yep. Yep. The late 2000s, that's where everything started going to pot. I will not deny that. I don't think anyone will deny that. The late 2000s, that's where stuff started going to pot. You started getting more tween-centric comedy shows. You started getting more really stupid programming choices for television. You had a whole bunch of people that were like, hey, this is popular and doing stupid stuff. God forbid, before TikTok started coming around, like TikTok challenge this week is Tide Pods. Yeah, let's automatically now. I remember when that started being like a massive thing. My mom and I went to the grocery store to pick up some food and stuff. It's like, yeah, so they actually had Tide Pods locked. Like, you need to go up to customer service to get Tide Pods. Then it was NyQuil and chicken. I actually had to explain that. My supervisor's like, so wait, you don't cook NyQuil and chicken? No! All of a sudden, we go to the grocery store, and hey, guess where the NyQuil is? Behind the counter. To be fair, humanity went downhill of its own hubris and stupidity. It just got escalated a bit by TikTok, but humanity began to fall of its own hubris. You have the intelligent, you have the ones that are worth saving. I've always said this. If there's ever like a cataclysmic event, and let's say that one person gets chosen by, let's say like the Vulcans show up and they're like, hey, your planet's going to implode on itself in like 3 months. You have 3 months to survive. And they designate this is who gets to choose off of your planet who we're saving and who we're not saving. We can't save everybody. I have an entire list. On the Met Gala. I don't even know what that is. Isaac, I do not know what the Met Gala 2023 is. I honestly don't. But it's like, if we would ever get that point where, hey, we need to find a way we have to like evacuate the entire planet, but we can't save everybody. And they start picking, I will start building a ship, or I will try contacting the Vulcans and go, hey, I need a ship. And I'll go, okay, so the following people are coming with me in my spaceship, and we're just going to travel the universe together. That's what we're going to do for the rest of the time, because they're all going on their ship. We're going to go find another planet. We're going to restart civilization on another planet far away from this nightmare. I would go, most of my friends are coming. Obviously, most of my friends, but yeah. People wearing weird clothing and making cat noises. We're back to that again? I thought we did that. We're back to that again? I kind of thought we did that already. Like back in I thought it was like 2015 we did that. It was like the bread cats. I'm not searching it. No. I am not searching for that. I'm not searching for that. No way. Yeah. I mean, we had the Gentle Minions for a while, which freaked out a lot of movie theaters, but yeah. No, I'm not looking that up. I'm not touching that with a 10.5-foot pole. Sorry, that I'm not touching. I'm not touching that. There's no way I'm touching that. In all fairness, it sounds stupid. I'm not gonna lie about that. It does sound stupid. Because it just like, yeah. I am. I did not watch the latest season though, because I forgot that it was airing. I forgot it was airing, but I have been watching clips of it. I did try to catch the last 2 episodes when they rescued Deku and when they brought him back to UA. Those are the last 2 episodes that I saw. I have been watching video recaps of the latest manga chapters, but yes, I do like My Hero Academia. Because I figure out, because there was a thing, what's your quirk? And you can kind of like come up with your own quirk. Mine's called Impact. Basically, I can do different strength type things. Like I can kick or punch with different levels of intensity, but the more I use it, like the stronger it is, the more time it takes me to recover. So like if I would go, let's say Giga Impact, it would take me like a good 30 minutes to recover afterwards. But it's massive. It's a glass cannon basically. That's my idea for a quirk. It's a glass cannon in a way, but it's powerful. So like you use it and it's going to stop something, but you're not going to be able to move for like a good half an hour. Galaxy Impact, forget it. You're not moving for a week. That's my quirk is Impact. It can be done with like I was kind of figuring like doing it like Deku did with the air flicking. And it's like you just can't use certain fingers for a little while. I'm like, hey, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, but I am a huge My Hero Academia fan. I actually do like All Might. I think Deku's pretty cool. Todoroki is another one of my favorites. Him and Dark Shadow. I think that's just so cool. I don't know. Let me check the weather forecast to see when hell's expected to freeze over because I think that's when SpongeBob will end is when hell freezes over. Let me check the forecast here quick. Hold on. Let me check the forecast. When is hell freezing? When is hell scheduled to freeze over? Oh yeah, never. Unfortunately. It'll have to end at some point because I think people are going to get tired of it. The ratings are going to tank and honest to God, it's going to suck. The year 2165. Oh, is that when hell's gonna freeze over? I'm not gonna be alive then. No, there's so much I want to have happen when hell freezes over. I was expecting to do so much when that happened. I wanted to. There's so many people I want to say, hey, when hell freezes over, I want to go, hey, guess what froze over this morning? No, 2165. Aww. Be old and dead by then. Mostly dead. Like I won't be. I will be. Well, I'm planning to be cremated, so yay! I don't know, but yeah, no news about hell. Planning to freeze over here. Teen Titans Go will probably end when Cartoon Network implodes on itself. And seeing as Adult Swim's going to be starting at 6 p.m. in a couple months, I'm going to give it probably about 2 or 3 years. Because I kind of feel like Cartoon Network is going to implode. And I'm not even joking on this one. Because Adult Swim is starting, I think it's now 7 o'clock they're starting. And in a couple months, they're going to be starting at 6 o'clock at night, 6 p.m. I kind of feel like they're eventually going to go, hey, it's 24/7. It's no longer Cartoon Network. It's Adult Swim. And that's going to be the end of it. And it's like, nope, no more Teen Titans Go. Because they're going to go, nope, we don't want it anymore. And they're just going to like shove it over to Max. Or by that point, DC's license agreement with Cartoon Network and Warner Media will probably be expired. Or they'll go, we don't want it on Cartoon Network anymore. So I'm going to give it like 3 years. I'm honestly being honest with this. I'm going to give it like 3 years. Because I kind of feel like 3 years is the maximum. Anything more than that, it'll be a miracle. But I'm going to say 3 years. Like, I am for sure saying 3 years. Because I saw that when I saw that Adult Swim wants to go and start at like 7 o'clock, I was thinking, okay, well, they were starting at 8 o'clock. All right, that makes sense. Starting at 7. All right, just take another hour. And it's like literally a couple months, like a couple weeks after, it's like, no, we're gonna start going at 6 p.m. When the world ends with a global ice age. Oh God. We almost had that this past winter this past Christmas actually, because in my area it got down to -14, and I live in Pennsylvania, and it hit -14 because that was Christmas. That would have been the Thursday night into that Friday, into Christmas Eve. It hit -14 because sorry, no, that Friday into that Saturday. It's just on a Sunday this year. Um, because I went to try to start the car on Christmas Eve up, and the car would not start. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And I had to try to jump the battery. Battery would not, didn't want to start up. I actually had to walk. I had to walk up to the new convenience store up the street and pick up a couple bottles of um de-icer, like fuel de-icer for the car, and stick that into the car. And I ended up going back out to the car at like 1 o'clock, and I'm like, hey, it finally started. Yay. And then I just quick drove it. I took like the scenic route around so the car would run for a little bit, went and put some gas in it, came back home. I'm like, hey, here's the lawn ornament for Christmas because it's going to freaking freeze again tonight. We almost had an ice age this past winter. So, yeah. Ooh, what's it going to be? Ooh, what's it going to be? Because I know they had what was the one that they stopped service for that I was really pissed that they stopped the service, and you can't even play it solo anymore because all the like DLC content has been destroyed too. What's the next Shonen Jump crossover? I honestly didn't see anything about it. So what is it? I am what's it called? Common? What's it called? Common? Don't do this to me. What's it called? Common. They're okay. All right. I'm trying to avoid Twitter right now, but I have my reasons why. But I have to face it reason, and I have a thing to face it with anyway. So I'll check it probably later tonight. Then I'm trying to salvage my friendship with my friend that I kind of confessed my feelings to, and I'm working on a. I actually went back to ChatGPT to try to help me fix this problem that it kind of helped me start in the first fucking place. And I'm working on a letter to kind of say, hey, I still want to be your friend regardless. I've taken some time, and I haven't talked to my friend. I haven't talked to her in a month. Jumpstar's Ultimate. Ooh. I am gonna look that up. Jumpstar's Ultimax. That sounds cool. But yeah, so I'm working on a letter to send my friend. Basically, again, apologizing for my piss poor timing. Tell her that I'm really happy, but yeah. Oh, okay. It might be a fake one just to get people's hopes up. So in other words, take whatever I find with a grain of salt. Got it. I'm used to that. I am used to that with everything I find anymore online. I'm used to that. Take it with a grain of salt. Or is this is actually funny. If anybody ever watched that King of the Hill episode where he dragged Tom Landry back to try to coach the middle school football team, where Hank did that, and he just remembered him saying, take a salt tablet, take a salt tablet, take a salt tablet, take a salt tablet, take a salt tablet. It's fine. I keep forgetting that there's a delay because I'm seeing like the actual thing on my screen, which if you see my eyes dart off, I'm checking like the time, how many views, stuff like that. Because here's me looking at the camera. So yeah, it's cool. But I actually had so this is funny. So when I was in middle school, we had the chain smoking nurse. I'm not even joking. I was 7th grade. She was the chain smoking nurse. She would go across the street, go off of school property because you could not smoke on school grounds. She would go across the street to the local fairgrounds, and she would smoke up almost half a pack in 10 minutes. She was a chain smoking bitch. And every time her thing was tummy tablet, tummy tablet, tummy tablet. And the one time I go down there, I'm actually sick. She did send me home. I had a fever. I had the flu in May, which is rare, but I had it. But was really funny. Okay. So she goes, there was one time I had to go up there. She goes, have a salt tablet. I'm like, what the hell is a salt tablet? I was like, what in the hell is a salt tablet? It's basically an antacid. She could just say, have an antacid. Here's a Tums. I'm like, it didn't help. My stomach still hurt that day, but I was like, I'm not going back up there. I remember like later in the day, as I had the same teacher for like the rest of the afternoon. And she was like, do you want to go to the nurse? I said, no. It's like, I went this morning. All she gave me was a tummy tablet and sent me back to class. And she did. I got home and happily it was like right before the weekend, like a Friday. That Saturday morning, I was fine. I just ended up having to sleep. It's like, yeah, if you would have just let me like freaking go home, it wouldn't have been a problem. But no, you run a fever of 99.9. Oh, then she'll send you home. Like I walked up there. It was second period. First period, everything is going bright white on me. I mean, like bright white. My one classmate's in front of me in math class turns around to ask me a question. I didn't even know if he was talking to me. I'm just like, uh-huh. And he's like, you okay? I'm like, huh? I said, no, I don't feel that good. Second period, I'm talking like a chipmunk. Like my voice is going really super, super high. And the one kid at my table goes, you need to send Andrew to the nurse. His voice sounded like a chipmunk. And the teacher's like, okay, go to the nurse. Like, she's just going to give me a tummy tablet and send me back here. I'm not going. He's like, no, you're going to the nurse. Signs my, hall pass to go to the nurse. I'm like, she's just going to give me a freaking tummy tablet and send me right back to class. I get in there. She goes, have a seat. Takes one look at me and goes, anybody at home? My mom. Next thing I know, she's calling up. She goes, hi, this is the school nurse. I'm not going to say what her name was. I'm not going to say what the school was. I have your son, because that's what I was at the time. I have your son in my office. He's running a fever of 99.9. I'm sending him home. So I need you to come down here and pick him up. She looked at me and goes, go gather your stuff. Come back up here. I'm like, all right. Went down, got my stuff out of my locker, came back up, sat there, and all of a sudden, my mom shows up then. And it's like 99.9. 99.9. She's sending me home. So when we found out I had the flu in May. I had the flu in May. Oh, great. Someone's shooting fireworks off tonight. Wonderful. I get to listen to that all night. Yay. I hate that noise. All right. I think I'm going to call it here, folks, for the week. Been at this for a little over an hour and a half. Like an hour, 41 minutes so far, but I think I'm going to cut it, especially if my neighbors are starting to gun up. Especially if they're starting to gun up fireworks. I definitely do not need to be hearing that going off. So I think we're going to call it this week. So bye, Isaac. Catch everybody next week. I don't know what next week's topic is going to be yet. So stay tuned. Check out my Twitter at Otaku Roads to find out what next week's topic is going to be. And until then, bye. Have a good one, everybody.